Welcome to Canine Revolution Radio. Presented by Canine Revolution Dog Training, enhancing the dog and owner relationship through education, balance, and pack instinct.
Thanks everybody for tuning in today. Another episode of Canine Revolution Radio, and we're here in Hampton Park, honored to have Meagan with us today, and we're going to get her story. She's a dog trainer in the Charleston area, and if you've ever reached out to us and asked for private lessons, she's the one we send you to. So we're going to get her story today, talk to her about what me and her are very passionate about, which is dog training, and kind of get the story of how that got started for her, which is probably very similar to a lot of us that are in the dog training community. Right. So where'd you grow up at, Meagan? Give us the details.
I grew up in Islip, New York, my whole life, basically, and obviously loved animals, had a passion for animals. Took my parents like 17 years to get me a dog. So waited very patiently for that one. Actually researched a breeder. My mom said no shedding dogs. So we got Bailey. She's a Portuguese water dog.
Oh, nice. Really?
Yeah,
those
crazy
are not
little
that
dog.
Common.
She was a crazy little dog.
Yeah.
So I actually took her to some obedience classes, and then I went off to college, and then my parents kind of, just took on the role of all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Did they ruin the training or keep it up?
Ruined it. Completely ruined it.
That's the way it goes.
She was so naughty until like the day she died. She was so naughty, but she was a great dog. You kind of laugh when you think of her because she just really had a serious personality. Anyone's like, "Oh, have you heard of a Portuguese water dog?" I'm like,
yeah.
"Are you sure you want a Portuguese water dog? They're wild."
Yeah.
So started off there, went to college at Sacred Heart University, ended up graduating with exercise science degree, totally not related to dog training.
What made you get exercise science? Did you think you were going to do something else? Was your goal to be like a personal trainer or whatever?
I wanted to be a personal trainer.
Yeah.
So when I graduated, I ended up working for like a huge corporate gym. It was awful.
Really?
Oh my gosh, it was horrible. They would be like, "Hey, go flirt with that guy. Try and get him as a client."
Are you serious?
Serious.
So not even training. You're just like trying to.
Yeah, she's like, "That guy on the treadmill has no
in.
personal trainer. You should like go up to him and just like start a conversation." I'm like,
Holy
so you
cow.
mean like flirt with him? Yeah,
Yeah.
no. So I ended up quitting after like 2 months.
Yeah.
They were paying like $8.50 an hour too. So
Yeah.
I couldn't pay my student loans, $500 a month. I'm like, I'm not barely paying my gas after working here.
Where were you living at the time? You were living.
Still in Islip.
Okay. You had an apartment, a place of your own.
Living with my parents.
Okay. So I asked because a lot of people, we have some training assistants that are like in high school, whatever, and they don't understand the bills yet. But at that point in your life, you were starting to understand the bills,
Oh, yeah. My dad relinquished all the bills once I graduated from college. He's like, all right, you're going to be paying all this.
Yeah.
So, that was rough. And I went back to food and bev. I always had worked in food and bev since I was really young because my parents always instilled, like, you have to work when you turn 14.
Yeah.
So I was doing that. And then in 2011, a year after I graduated, I decided to go to grad school. So went to Dowling College. Basically, I was there for a while, and then a year after that or two after that, I actually decided, I was like, hey, I kind of want to foster dogs, and I was still going to grad school at the time, still in food and bev, working to pay the bills and my other student loans that I had from undergrad.
Yeah.
So I go to the shelter, I fill out like a volunteer form, and I meet up with this woman, and she's like, all right, we're going to go take some dogs out. First dog we take out is my dog Chase. And she was trying to push him on me, and I was like, no, I have these two other dogs I want to foster.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, I think you should really take Chase. And
what was the situation with him?
Well, so I don't think it was like her intention to have me adopt him because she thought that he might have had issues and he would have been like euthanized or anything like that. But he was there for a while. He had been, I think he was a Sandy dog. He came in after Sandy. He was like found on the street.
Okay.
He's about 3 at the time. So
what kind of dog?
A pit bull mix, like straight, like I don't know what else he is. He just looks like a straight up American pit bull terrier. So I don't know anything about this. When you get a pit bull, you should probably do your research and, just, I'm like, I'm going to save this dog.
Yeah.
So he comes out, he's shivering. We put him in a jacket and he just sits there. They're like, oh, this is his MO. He just sits there the whole time. He's cool as a cucumber, so calm. Well,
he's shivering the whole time when they're saying this?
Yes, shaking.
What are you thinking?
I'm like, oh.
This is your first, you're like just now
I don't know
getting-
anything
yeah.
about dog behavior. All I
Yeah.
know is I love dogs. So everyone goes in with good intentions, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, let me think about it. Everyone in my family is like, do not get a pit bull. Do not get a pit bull.
Mm-hmm.
So my parents will attest to this. If you tell me not to do something, I'm probably going to do it.
Good. I like it.
Yes. So I take this dog into foster with my boyfriend at the time in New York and take him over to Fire Island. I was living over there part-time. And he wants nothing to do with me. He is shaking. And I'm like, this dog probably hasn't even been in a house. Like, so he just sits by the door all night. And every moment a door opens, he tries to bolt. So I'm like, this poor dog. I was like, I can't even have a relationship with him. So I start taking him on runs. And he basically, we bond. But now he's like being possessive. So now we bond to the point that I am like a possession and not a person at this point.
Yeah.
Then he's running away and chasing deer over there, which is like a huge no-no because people feed the deer over there.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh, he's chasing deer.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh. So he like ran a deer to death, killed it. Didn't kill it with like his, like he just ran it until it had a heart attack. So that put everyone up in arms. So now I got a pit bull over there in a small community that's just wreaking havoc all over the place. So
Are they like coming up to you and like protesting all the time and like saying things to you and like egging
they
your
were just,
car or
everyone
anything?
was so against, well, there's no cars over there. So like
okay.
if you look at Fire Island on a map, it's Long Island, then there's like this little strip of land.
Yeah.
And it's 160 residents in the winter. So it's super small.
But there's deer there.
There's tons of deer.
Really?
Yes.
That's because no one's
They
harvesting
swam over
over
the
there.
bay.
Are you
like,
serious?
Yeah, that's how they got
Holy
over there.
cow.
Yeah. Like I guess a long time ago when the ice froze over and you know all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So he's wreaking havoc in the town. So I'm just like, these people are going to make me get rid of this dog. So then I am nannying at this point on the mainland, Long Island, right? So I'm nannying. I get a frantic phone call. I'm like, oh my gosh, what is going on? Why are you calling me at work?
Yeah.
Chase bit so-and-so.
Oh, shoot.
I go, oh my God, no. This dog's already on like the blacklist of Fire Island. So I go, okay, what happened? Like where, like why, how, like, you know, because he kind of would be aloof to people. He wouldn't like go up to people, but he would growl at them, but he wouldn't like overtly like just go up and try and do that. So, well, he was sleeping and, you know, the guy put his face in his face.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
So now I rushed. So he left him over on Fire Island in the house, whatever. And I rushed to the hospital just to, because we knew the person. So I was like, are you okay? Can I see your face? He said, no. And I'm like, let me see your face. And he opened up his mouth and I was like, oh, he like butterflied his lip.
Oh, shoot.
So we only had the dog for like 4 months at this point. So I'm like, okay, I don't
And
even
it was
know
a
this
foster.
dog.
You hadn't adopted
No,
it?
no, we
You
signed
had
the
adopted
adoption
it, but-
papers.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I actually messaged the person who was a trainer that Chase had done this. And I was like, can you help me? I don't want to give this dog back, but can you help me? She goes, well, you can just return him to the shelter if you want.
What the heck?
And this is supposed to be like, you know, a trainer.
Yeah.
So
It's a fake trainer.
only trained who she wants to train, I guess.
Yeah.
Easy dogs.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh my gosh, this lady's just like blowing me off now. And she wanted me to take this dog in the first place.
Yeah.
So I actually contacted a kennel aide. I had become really good friends with him. Like, hey, I don't want to take Chase back to the shelter. I really love this dog. I really want to work with him. You know, I need someone that's going to like guide me in the right direction because everyone's like, you need a shock collar and we can come back to this if you want. But I was like, that sounds so awful. Like, I didn't know anything about these tools or, you know, you need a prong collar, you need a shock collar. I'm like, what do you mean?
Yeah. You're just asking for help. People are like, this is what you need. This is what you need. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's also the way they portray it. Right. So, I was like, okay, I don't really know if that's the right route. So they put me in contact with Jen of Lead the Pack Dog Training on Long Island. Awesome woman. And I go to her. Well, actually, she'll laugh about this. So I messaged her and I go, can you come over to Fire Island today and help me with this dog? Yes, I'm that person, right? And now I'm like, oh my gosh, these people think I could like go to Kiowa today, you know?
Absolutely, you know.
But that's just an example. But that's like basically in retrospect what it's like, right? So she goes, I cannot come over today, but my fee if I did come over there would be like, I think she said something like $400 because you got to take a ferry, you got to drive, you got all these hours that you're, you know. I'm like, oh my gosh. And I'm only like 23, 22 at the time.
This is back.
This is back in the beginning. This is like 2013.
Yeah. So, I mean, even back then, that's super expensive
Yeah, and I had no money. I was like, what is going on? How I didn't know that's that expensive. So
and dog training wasn't even that big back then.
No.
So, yeah, people had no idea.
I think her board and train price, she told me, was like $1,500 at the time.
Yeah, that was crazy back
then. Yeah. So she goes, but let's set up a time. I said, how about I'll just come to you because this sounds like a lot of work. Like I felt bad at that point. I was like, oh yeah, duh.
Yeah.
So she meets me, and she probably felt so bad for me because I was like in tears. I go, what am I going to do with this dog? Everyone on Fire Island hates this dog. My parents don't want this dog at their house. So she looks at him. She's like, look, he's really dominant. And then we food tested him because he started being possessive over me, and I was like telling her all his behaviors and all that kind of stuff. And she puts a bully stick down on the ground, and all Chase does is look at it, and he pees on it.
Are you serious? That's what he did right then and there.
And
Holy
she was
cow.
like, she goes, that's pretty serious. So, like, he didn't even go to chew on it or anything. He just like urinated on it. I'm like, oh, is that bad? She goes, that's like pretty serious.
Yeah.
So
was she like, this is like one of the worst cases I've ever seen, or she was like, this is normal?
She said it was pretty borderline.
Yeah.
And he just had no idea. Like, I had no idea how to handle him. I was really insecure at that point.
Yeah.
So she's like, that's pretty serious. Like, listen, you know, if you want to do this and you are committed, if you come to me, I will do this pro bono for you.
Holy
and she
cow.
said, but if I see that you're not following through, we're not going to train anymore.
Yeah.
Because she was like, he already split someone's face open. It's really hard for you to adopt this dog out if he's already done this.
Right.
And she was like, if you are willing to work with him, I will help you. So it took a long time. And all the while I'm still in grad school, still working. And it took a really long time for me to feel comfortable with Chase because I loved him, but I had to place so many boundaries on this dog. I was like, so I can't cuddle with him. I can't have him in the bed. I can't like do all the things that I wanted.
Were you doing all these things before you?
Oh
met
yeah.
With him?
Yeah. He would sleep on the back of my neck.
Oh yeah.
He would like lay over me. Like he was completely like, he was kind of a jerk. But
wait,
like,
so she told you don't do these things, and you actually did it?
Yes.
Right out the gate, you just
right out the gate.
Nice.
Well, I knew that at this point that like this was either the dog goes away or I take control of my dog.
Right.
And I always was interested in just working with dogs in general, even when I was little. So I took it as a challenge.
Real quick on that note, like when you were younger, what things kind of sparked your interest in working with dogs? Was it like you see people doing something that's cool, or you're like, it'd be cool to get on a different relationship with a dog? Like,
well, so I never got a dog. So it could have been like, oh, they have one, why can't I have one kind of deal.
Yeah.
So I would always so my neighbors had 2 dogs. My other neighbors had a dog. This one neighbor, I would actually dig a hole under the fence so the dog would come play with me. like I just wanted to play with dogs. Like I really just enjoyed the company of a dog.
Yeah.
And my grandfather and my grandma had a dog. It was an Afghan golden retriever, and it was like the sweetest dog ever. Yeah. Yes. And my parents have so many videos. They're like, you just wanted to hang out with the dogs all the time.
Yeah.
I
never got you one. No, I'm just kidding.
I was doing some questionable things now that I know, as a dog trainer. I'm like, oh my God, you guys let me sit on top of that dog. It obviously was stressed out.
Yeah.
Because they would show me little home videos. But yeah, so I just was always interested. And then I was like, oh, I want to train Bailey. So they would just drop me at, the Canine University down the street and be like, all right, have at it,
That's cool. Yeah.
But yeah.
So
and I always.
Back to Chase.
Back
and,
to Chase.
Jen and you.
Yes.
Getting on the path.
So, she really had a lot of faith in me because it's hard, I think, if you're going to be like, oh, this young girl, 22, 23, let's, give her a chance. So I trained Chase. We ended up becoming really good, almost we're best friends at this point. So how
often are you going to see her? Every day?
I literally would go whenever she had an opening in her schedule.
You just want to go live with her? Good to go.
yeah, right. I'm sure she would have liked some help at that point. So I wish, right? That would have been awesome. So anytime I could go over there, I would. I was actually living not too far from her. I was living about 10, 15 minutes away at that point because I had actually moved Chase off of Fire Island at that point and found myself a place.
Because of the blacklist situation.
No, I couldn't be there during the week because I was doing school and work. So I'd only be there on the weekends. And my boyfriend at the time, he was like, this dog's like not eating. And so I was like, all right, I'm going to find a place for him with me. And I was like, who's going to accept a pit bull? New York is really strict with that stuff. Found 2 guys from Franklin, North Carolina that were like down there in Oakdale. That's actually where Dowling was too. So I was going to school right around the block. And they were like, yeah, sure, you can take a pit bull in here. Yeah, we have one too. And I was like, okay. Oh my gosh, the house smelled like boiled peanuts all the time. It was so funny. And I was like, how do you feel about living with these 2 guys? I'm like, honestly, easiest roommates ever.
Yeah.
So, Jen and I would just go over there anytime I had the chance, and if Jen was available. And then I started going on like sessions with her, and she would explain to me, like, talk to me after a session and be like, what do you think about that session? She would get my opinion. She would actually take me to a lot of dog parks and like evaluate owners and their dog and how they're interacting.
Yeah.
And then teach me and Chase a bunch of stuff too.
Yeah. This is around your school still?
All around the school.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So any of your open moments, you're spending doing the dog thing?
Yes.
Dog behavior, dog training, working with Chase, working with her? Yeah.
Yes. And then, I guess fast forward. So me and Chase, we're good now, right? We're off leash trained. We're not blacklisted on Fire Island anymore. My parents love having him over.
Yeah.
So we're doing really well with each other. And, he's basically like my heart dog. He's a great dog.
Yeah.
It was amazing to actually see that transformation. So, like, when I work with clients, it's always nice to see that because you kind of go back to where you started when you had a difficult dog and you were in tears and you're like, oh, man, I remember being there. It was tough.
Yeah.
Honestly,
that's where the good dog trainers come through that fire.
Yeah.
They start off, they have a dog with a problem, big problem.
Yeah.
And they work through that and they find their passion doing it.
Yeah.
And whenever you, like you said, you meet people that have issues, you're like, hey, I've been there. I know.
Yep.
How you're feeling.
Exactly.
And I know what's going to happen if you stick with it.
Yes. Exactly. And you have to have some sort of empathy. You come into a house, if someone's having a real struggle and, you're like, wow, the dog's out of control, but these people are trying, they're calling people, they're doing their thing. So you have to have a lot of empathy for the people too.
Right.
It's a tough job sometimes. You feel like you give all your empathy because you're like, oh man, I feel so bad.
Yeah.
But your job's there to work with them and the dog and create a better relationship for them.
Yeah.
So.
Absolutely.
Well, fast forward a little bit. So in 2016, I was just finishing up grad school. So I had, I'm trying to think. The years all like come together at this point.
Yeah.
So 2016, I decide that I need to kind of leave New York a little bit, kind of take a hiatus from a relationship, and I bring my dogs down to Charleston, South Carolina to see my best friend. And
so your best friend's originally what brought you here?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, they lived in Mount Pleasant.
Okay.
So, took a hiatus from the dog training. Oh, sorry. Actually, before that, I was in rescue. So I was on the board of a rescue, and that got a little bit exhausting too.
In New York?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I was getting a little bit of fatigue. What do they call that again? It's like when you're like...
Well, you're just overall...
I was just really overwhelmed because I was seeing a lot of abused dogs,
yeah,
trying to help a lot of dogs, foster a lot of dogs, and...
that world is super difficult.
Yes.
The rescue world.
I was getting a little bit exhausted, so I needed a little bit of a break. So I go down, I'm like, I'll go down for 2 months. I have 1 semester left, Dowling College. And August hits, about to sign up for my class, boom, college goes bankrupt. There's actually kids in dorms that at the time that were international students that were being kicked out of dorms. Yeah. So I feel more bad for them.
Yeah.
So now I'm like sitting there, $170,000 basically between undergrad and grad school in debt.
Yeah.
And hadn't been doing dog training for 2 months.
Yeah.
And I was just
Currently in Mount Pleasant.
Currently in Mount Pleasant. Yes. Working at Post Tavern actually on Sullivan's. There's a lot of like layers to my story, but it all comes back to dog training. So I'm like, well, I'm not moving back. I'm not going back to New York. I don't really want to go back.
Yeah. You're liking the South. You're liking the
Yeah.
cooler weather.
Yeah, exactly.
You're liking the sweet tea? You like the sweet tea?
I don't drink sweet
No?
tea. No. So I like unsweet tea though.
Yeah. Good to go.
So I'm like, I'm staying. Then end up going back with the boyfriend, right? So I moved back to New York for 5 months. Actually start dog training a lot on Fire Island during the summer because everyone's out with their dogs, and it actually was really nice. I got to work with some dogs. I had lifeguarded on the ocean all my summers.
Nice. Are you working with Jen, or you're doing your own thing?
No, I'm basically doing my own thing at this point.
So just so I'm tracking,
go ahead.
You worked with her, or like you did basically
like an
apprenticing with her. She's teaching you all this stuff, and then basically when that's done, you move down here, or you take your break to come down here. Is that basically?
Yeah,
how
I was
it
still
happened?
working with Jen like before I left a little bit.
Okay.
Her and I did the rescue thing together.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry,
Gotcha.
I totally missed that
That's all
point.
right.
But
Good to go.
yeah.
Was she trying to get you to like, hey, you just need to stay with me. Just stay with me. Was she trying to rope you in?
No, I think she knew my story and like what was going on, and she was like, I think you need to like kind of go off on your own and like find some independence, because I was very insecure. So like she had done backtrack a little bit. She was like, oh, let me shadow you on, a client. Like you could pick up a person. And one of my friends was like, yeah, come do a session with me in my golden. And Jen was watching me, and it was just, it was so bad. I was like,
you were stressing.
I was so nervous, and I just couldn't. She goes, okay, so we're going to have a talk. She was like, you just need to be more confident in what you're saying. And it took a long time. It took a lot of time to get that confidence. 20s are tough.
And that's something hard to develop too. Honestly, being a dog trainer, I don't know how it was with her, but like stepping into someone's house.
Yeah.
Taking leadership of the situation, trying to tell them what to do with their dog. They might challenge you. You know? I mean, it gets kind of rough sometimes.
I've had a couple.
I
think I had a couple times where I was like, oh God, I could cry right now, moments. And then I've developed confidence over like this past year has been really eye-opening. It's been great.
Yeah.
And I've developed like a sense of self with the training. And
would you say the dogs help develop your confidence, your sense of yourself and all that?
And
just
the people,
working with them and the people.
Yeah, absolutely. For every bad, session you may have where you don't jive with someone, you got 25 other people that have been awesome.
Right.
So it's you have to just understand that you may not be everyone's cup of tea, and it's hard to swallow a little bit because you want to be like want to be liked by everyone.
Yeah.
So
I think that's basic human nature. You want everybody to like you.
Yeah. Yeah. There was one time I was like, it wasn't too long ago, and the guy was being really nasty towards me, and it was just he was sabotaging the session, and it was our third session, and I actually I was at the point I was like, I am telling this person that I'm not seeing them again because he was being
rude,
really rude, like very disrespectful. His wife was like borderline mortified. So
She's right there too?
Oh yeah.
And he's just going ham.
He's gone ham. He's just like sabotaging the session. And the dog was awesome.
Yeah.
Like I loved the dog. I was like, this is a great dog.
All dogs are good to go.
Yeah. Love the dog. And I've never had this before where someone like was blatantly being really nasty to me. He didn't want to do any of like the shaping exercises or like the luring. He just wanted to tell the dog to do this and it listened. He goes, well, I just told and it's 3 months old. So it's like, I just told the dog to down. None of this is working.
He doesn't understand why.
And I did a lot of.
He doesn't want to know why.
No.
Yeah.
So I said, hey, I was like, I actually think maybe this isn't working out for us. This is our last puppy lesson anyway. I was like, I could give you some recommendations for board and trains. I might have given him your name.
Good to go. We'll take him.
But I was like, I just think that maybe the follow through isn't there, or, maybe just there's personality differences, but nothing was like bad. He actually called and apologized.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I was like pretty upset because I was like,
was he like trying to attack you personally, or was
no,
he just,
no. I think he
just
didn't. I just don't think he wanted to cooperate. And I think when people have dogs for so long that, are easy and then they get a really hard, like this was a pit bull puppy with super high drive and they're a little older. So
he's comparing it to his old dog.
Yeah. Yeah. So I understood where he was coming from, and I tried to like empathize with him, but it was getting to the point I was like, I have my, self-respect too.
Right.
So.
Absolutely. And that's a good call to make.
Yeah.
Defend, yourself. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Where were we on my story?
No, it's good. It's good. So you came down here to Mount Pleasant. The college shut down. You're now 170 plus in debt.
Yes.
And you're like, what the hell? you know.
Yeah, mental breakdown
like, what's going on?
Like crying, bawling, crying.
Yeah.
Decided to stay for a little bit longer. Then I went back, did some training on Fire Island.
Right.
Still communicated with Jen, still did stuff with Jen. She was doing like a program for vets.
Okay.
So I would actually go, I went a few times to help train vets and their dogs. So I would do that with her.
Did she have a facility at all, or she just meeting people
in
random places?
She had her property where she would do board and trains.
Okay.
And then she would do one-on-ones too.
Okay.
So that was done at like I think it was like a 501c3, and they used her as volunteer. Like she did all pro bono just to help.
Yeah.
And so then I told her, I was like, hey, I gotta get out of here.
I gotta bounce.
She was totally understanding. I actually stayed with her for a little bit with my dogs before I left to come back down here for the final time. My mom was like, I'm not driving you back down there ever again.
And at this point, it's you and Chase, or you?
Me, Chase, and Maverick. Oh, Maverick.
Okay.
Yeah, she's my 7-year-old Rottweiler, so she is like full of piss and vinegar. She's like.
How'd you get her involved in your pack?
So when I was doing rescue, I would actually take dogs on for pro bono work just to do a board and train program with them. And then once the 2 weeks were up, I would go, whoever adopted the dog, and I would go over every single thing we did during training. And it was great practice because I think I fostered like 24 dogs in a year. And they were all tough. So they were like all pit bull. And I picked every single one I wanted to take. And Jen would be like, are you sure you want to take that one?
You took the hardest ones.
Yeah. She came to me as a board and train, little Roddy. We're not 100% sure she's 100% Rottweiler, but you know. So she had like so many issues, and I was like, this dog's like 3.5, 4 months old. I think she was like 4 months old at the time. I was like, I don't know, man. So I did a board and train with her, and then fell in love with her. She's adorable and just super fun. Yeah. And I ended up keeping her because I felt like it's a lot to keep up with. You got a resource guarding puppy, very scared. She was definitely abused. The owners actually like told the rescue that they were like, hey, we've been hitting this dog with brooms. We've been doing this stuff.
Holy smokes.
So I think a rescue reached out to Jen and actually asked if she had anyone that would do a pro bono board and train. So I was like, me. Yeah. And then I ended up keeping her. Yeah. So.
She's still trucking.
She's still trucking.
Doing her thing.
Yeah, she's just like one of those dogs that, you know, you need management a lot. Oh yeah. A lot of management. You know, her relationship with like our new dog Edmund is actually kind of funny because he knows his boundaries, and they all do really well together. Yeah. But it took her like 3 or 4 months to actually like initiate play with him and like do that kind of stuff. So I just know who she is, and it works out, and she loves Chase too. So
that's good to go.
But yeah, so Maverick and Chase came down with me, moved into a condo on James Island. They've never lived in a condo before. So
a little bit tighter quarters than they were used to.
Well, now they think it's like their property. Yeah. So like, are you guys seriously reacting to other dogs right now? So now I got to whip them into shape. Yep. But yeah, no, everything was fine. Then ended up moving back to Mount Pleasant a little bit, and now I'm back on James Island. Yep. So, and when I moved back down here, I started working at Fleet Landing because I had no business. So I was like, all right, I'm going to start a business, get, you know, my LLC, do all this stuff. Yeah. And I went to Fleet Landing downtown. I was like, all right, I need a job. Yeah. I need security. Yeah. I need money. Yeah. Right? So then I was like, you know what? I really got to get on the dog training thing again. It's just what makes me happy.
What about year is this? What year?
This is now 2017.
17. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. And then 2018. So it was like end of 2017. Remember when the snowstorm hit?
Oh, yeah.
That's like, I moved here 3 days before that happened. So I get here, I'm like, are you kidding me?
You're like, I moved down here to get away from snow.
So then I'm like, oh, I could walk to Publix, right? Yeah. So Publix is closed. I have no food. I'm like, are you kidding me? So I'm like, I go to the local bar and get like a, you know, French fries or whatever.
I thought you were going to say I just went to work at Fleet Landing and just ate everything I could.
No, it's like 3 days after I moved. So
oh, okay, that's right, yeah.
So I had nothing, barely any furniture. Everything's closed for like the whole week. So I go, they don't open grocery stores when it snows here? Are you kidding me? There's no plows out. So then that January, February, I got into Fleet Landing. But then I also started like promoting my business on like those mom swap pages and stuff. I had no idea how to start. I had no one that I was connected with down here, and it was really scary. So I discounted my prices like significantly. I don't know if I would recommend that to people now, but
you do what you got to do. I did the same thing.
I was like,
I did free training on it.
Yeah, one of the first dogs I trained down here was awesome. It was a girl that reminded me of me, right? So she had this German Shepherd that was super reactive. And I like took one look at that dog and I'm like, this poor dog has not been socialized. Before she got the dog was living in like a laundry room for like a whole year. So I discounted her prices a lot too, because I was like, this is like what Jen did for me, because I was just like, I want to help you so bad. So that was like kind of how I started, and then the ball's been rolling. So
and
it's
that
been
right
really
there,
great.
people, is called passion.
Yeah.
When you do that, you know, that statement you just said, I want to help you so bad, because you see the dog, you see the lady, you relate, you're like, your passion.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So it really helped me get back into it, because I feel like I had like a little bit of falling out like for that 2016 into 2017 year, where it just was like a really rough time. So it was really nice. And, you know, my confidence started building, going into people's homes. And, you know, I don't know the area down here, so I don't know what areas I'm going to. So I'm like, sometimes I'm like, okay, sending location.
Yeah. You ever roll into like a shady area or area that seems shady and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm at the right place?
There's,
you know?
yes, there's been a couple times where I was like, okay, so my friend Lauren, she'd be like, can you send me your location when you're going to certain places? And I'm like, yeah, like if I roll up and like if it feels weird. There was one place and the guy was like, you can't come in my house. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I was like, probably don't want to either. But he's like, no, it's like not equipped for like strangers to come in. And then he's got
what
like
in the world?
A pit bull flying out the door. And I'm like,
what
okay.
in the world?
I'm like, is this the dog we're training? He's like, no, get her inside. I'm like, get her inside.
Oh, shoot.
So, yeah, like certain things like that.
Yeah.
It's only happened like not so much, but I've had a couple weird encounters where I'm like, okay.
Anything that you can talk about? Or that you care to talk about?
There is one, and this will like go down in history, because Jen used to always say I attract the creepiest people ever. So I go to this, so I was working at Fleet, and this person was in Fleet, and they were talking about their dog, and one of the girls that was waiting on a table goes, oh my gosh, one of the girls here is like a dog trainer. She's trying to build her business. So he goes, oh, awesome. So he calls me, I come over, older man, and he starts talking to me about like, you know, he's still got it kind of deal. Like,
what the heck?
And I'm like, whoa, what am I here for? So I was like, I'll just take your dog and work with your dog. And like, I just like really wanted nothing to do with him. Yeah. He ends up calling me and leaving me like 2 5-minute voicemails telling me to break up with my boyfriend, all this stuff.
Are you serious?
My boyfriend now, who I actually met at Fleet Landing. And he, and I'm like listening to these voicemails. I'm like, is this serious? Yeah. So I ignore him, obviously. Yeah. And then I'm walking into Fleet, and one of the hostesses goes, hey, so-and-so is here looking for you. And I'm like, what?
Was your boyfriend working at Fleet at the time? And you're like, hey, go talk to him, go talk to him.
No, so I wasn't there. We both were not there when this happened.
Oh, okay. And, they call you, they're like, hey, he's here.
They didn't know the whole story. So, like, they didn't know about that whole thing. So they just were like, hey, so-and-so came in to see. Like, they didn't know. And I'm like, oh, gosh, that's so creepy. Yeah. So that's like the last I ever heard. I just like blatantly ignored. I think I might have blocked the number, but good. Yeah. That was like one of the creepiest things. I was like, oh, now they know where I work. So that's like kind of bizarre. Yeah. But ever since then, that's been like, and someone called the phone, my phone number's on the back of my shirt, and I knew they followed me because I got in the car and then I drove home and I listened to the voicemail, and it was like very incoherent, and the guy was like, you know, and you got that damn dog in the back of your car, talking about Edmund, because he must have passed the car so Edmund can be protective of the car. So I'm like, did this guy follow me home? Yeah. Because I wasn't far from my house. And it was a really creepy voicemail, but nothing ever came of it.
That's super weird.
So stuff like that has only happened a couple times. But
well, honestly, I think that's one of those things, like, you know, when you're a female dog trainer, that's going to be one of those things that you've got to, you know, be prepared for that. We have 2 female apprentice dog trainers. You know, they're pretty far along in their certification, and it's like that's something we're trying to tell them all the time. Be aware of your surroundings. You know, if you're ever, call us. You know, trying to get them to get their CWPs. You know, to defend themselves, all that kind of stuff. So anyway, back to so you're at Fleet Landing and you're doing your business on the side.
Yeah.
The managers were great.
They were awesome. They like. I was like, listen, I can only do like 3 nights a week at this point. And I actually left in July.
This past July?
Oh, yeah. I was working
really?
full-time. Well, I was working full-time dog training, and that's obviously my passion. I would always give up shifts. I'd be like, hey, who wants a shift? Like, I want to take on a client at like 5 o'clock or whatever on a day. So it got to the point that it was just, I was like making people wait a longer amount of time. And I was like, and then, my boyfriend's like, hey, you're getting a little cranky. You're working like 100 plus hours a week.
He's like, I need you to chill out
I
a
was
little
putting
bit.
all like my, niceness into like tables, like, hey, how you doing? And then obviously like my full passion of dog training. And he's like, I think you should they were like, hey, if you want to come back, come back. Yeah. We hope we don't ever see you back because we want you to succeed. Yeah. So
that's cool.
I was like,
that's good. That's nice.
Yeah. So they were great. And I left in July and I haven't looked back, but
good. At that point, your business had grown to the point where it was just like you were just busy.
I'm busy. Good to go, as you would say.
Yeah, good to go. We're making a good to go shirt at some point.
Are you really? I'll take one of those. I was listening to some of your podcasts. I'm like, oh, he likes saying that.
Yeah. Everybody that starts working with us, they start saying it too. It's just like one of those things, That's
really funny. Yeah, you got to make a T-shirt out of that one.
So the business is booming at this point, So how are you running it? You're doing like board and train or only private lesson? And
only private.
All day? What's your schedule
all day
for the most part?
So usually my first session will start at 9. And then depends on the day. Some days I'll make longer than others. Where if I feel like someone really needs training and I could get them in a little earlier, I'll be like, all right, I'll do a 6 o'clock. As long as you're not in Somerville.
Yeah. You need to move up to Somerville is what you need to do. Move
I don't know. So
y'all ever go up there and hang out at all, or you're just down here?
I've been in downtown Somerville. It's really nice because I've had a couple clients up there and they're like, oh, can we go downtown Somerville? I'm like, sure, But yeah, so I'll take on people, but I try and place boundaries on myself. So
did you figure that out the hard way? You're like,
I'm
maybe
exhausting
I need to put a boundary.
myself.
I know I did, so that's why I asked you.
Yeah, I one time I almost fell asleep driving home.
Oh my god.
So I didn't, but I was like really groggy and I was so exhausted. I think I did 7 sessions that day.
Oof.
And it's a lot. Like you don't realize like the driving portion of it is a lot. So I was like, all right. I went from like Somerville to Awanda to James Island. And I was in all these different places because I was just taking on people that I'm making money for myself. Yeah. So that's also like the scary part of like getting into your business is you're like, all right, can I keep up with this? And so I was like, all right, I got to max it out at 5 maybe because I was just getting like so delirious.
You're smoking yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. Burnout, which is a real thing. I feel like in the dog training business.
Absolutely.
So. Yeah. And I feel like a lot of good trainers turn into not so great trainers because they take on too much.
Because they're burning themselves out.
Yeah. Yeah. So don't want to be like that.
Do you, at this point, do you like plan out your days like, all right, all my on-dog clients on this day, all my James Island clients on that day, all my Somerville clients? Are you still like all over the place?
I'm getting better about it. Like if I go see someone on John's Island, they're like, okay, what next do you have available? And I'll tell them and I'll be like, oh, I see someone on John's Island next week and I have an opening after that. Yeah. So, but the way I work, like my packages is if they sign up for one, I schedule them out so that they don't have like 3 weeks in between each session, especially if they may need that like one-on-one once every other week. So, and they get priority over what days they like in their schedule. So it's been working out much better because I've been able to kind of maneuver it. Yeah. But yeah, and then taking on less throughout the week is better too for everyone.
What days are your off days?
Sunday.
Sunday? Is your only off day?
Yeah.
Got to add another one in there. Sunday and Wednesday, good to go.
Someone was like, wait, do you have anyone working for you? I'm like, no, it's just me. I was like, I do my books. I have an accountant. I have all this stuff. And they're like, do you feel overwhelmed? I'm like, sometimes.
Yeah.
But I'm not ready to like take that step from being like a one-man band to like,
multiple operators.
And then I figured, like, if I buy a house and I ended up, like, having a nice property and wanted to do boarding, I wouldn't be doing board and trains. Because I know they're tough, and I know as, like, one person, it's a lot to take on. And for me, it's a lot. So I would probably take on clients' dogs, and, like, their stay with me would be, like, a refresher.
Yeah.
So, and kind of branch out from there.
Yeah.
But that's probably as far as, like, a board and train I would do.
Yeah. What about when you were starting up? Your business. First of all, backing it up a little bit further, when you're working with Jen, kind of, how did she teach you to train? Like, what methodology, what system are you using? Did you manipulate that at all at this point? Especially now you've been working with the man himself, Michael Ellis.
I know.
Shout out to him.
Yeah. Some things changed, and it was actually funny because, so she did everything, I kind of start with positive reinforcement, shaping behavior, shaping your commands, but not saying anything, just luring the dog, all that kind of stuff. Positive markers, super important. I think everyone looks at me like I'm crazy when I start to introduce like those things to them. I'm like, I swear this is so important.
Yeah.
This is the foundation of your training. And, with Jen, she was like, hey, she actually recommended, because she took the course. After I had moved down here. And
okay.
Or maybe it was before. I think it was before. It was the first Principles of Dog Training. And she's like, hey, you need to take this. Or watch some videos, and I'll give you my account, and you can watch some videos or whatever. So I was like, no. And then I ended up, when I got Edmund, my third dog, during quarantine, I was like, oh, this is perfect. I'm going to sign up for Michael Ellis's class. I'm kind of slow. Yeah. Like, I was only taking on a certain amount of dogs per day because, we wanted to be careful.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I was like, this is great time to do it. Signed up for the class. And then I was like, oh, he has some really good pointers. And she was telling me, she's like, hey, there's some things you're probably going to tweak with your training when you watch this. At first I thought, like, when I was teaching yes, I was teaching like yes, and the dog was stationary. Now it's like yes, and you like do an explosive movement and like, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So, it's a balanced training approach, as you would say. But I call it, like, when I'm explaining it to my clients, I'm like, hey, this is like a relationship-based dog training approach. Right. I'm not here to like yank and crank your dog all over the place and like shut your dog down. They're like, well, I thought you were supposed to dominate your dog and like that's how you're gonna fix everything. Yeah. Like, if anyone tells you to lay on top of your dog or dominate your dog, just run like the other way. So and everyone's like, oh, are you bringing the e-collar? Because they, over the phone, I tell everyone how I approach everything. I say, hey, we're going to do a lot of positive reinforcement stuff. We really want to teach the dog everything they need to know before we start with leash pressure and e-collar and all that stuff. And they're like, oh, okay. And then that actually makes them feel really comfortable with the training because a lot of people teeter on that, like, I don't know, my dog's not a bad dog, so I don't need to do e-collar work. Right. And I'm like, oh, well, I said, you do what you're comfortable with. And usually they end up doing the e-collar and really actually enjoy being with their dog. And they're like, hey, we took our dog to the beach off leash for the first time. It was amazing. Absolutely. So
when trained properly, it's a great communication tool.
Yeah, and it could
when
be
trained improperly, not good to go.
I've worked with a couple dogs where they were
they used it
before improperly, and the dog had no idea what it was doing. Yeah, it would just like lean into my leg, and it wouldn't understand. Like if I was like, okay, so your dog isn't. I said, I think what they were doing, where they were giving commands and like stimming your dog to get into the command. Yeah, I think some trainers
usually they'll try to do that.
So
negative reinforcement, or just the trainer doesn't know what they're doing.
So we started over, and the dog ended up being great. Yeah. But yeah, they're like, oh, well, they use, they're no treats, they're no this, they're no that. I said, oh, they're no anything. Yeah. So, I mean, that's pretty tough to, teach a dog that way, or the dog's going to be super confused.
Well, not only that, it ain't fair.
Superstitious. Yeah.
It ain't fair.
It's not fair. No.
Not fair at all.
So, it's
So you teach them, so you're doing the luring and all that,
yep.
relationship building, and then you get into leash pressure, remote collar work.
And
how many sessions does it usually take you to do that with somebody?
We usually do, like, I would say it's between like 7 to 10.
Okay.
We go through it a lot, and I really like, depending on the severity of the case too. You know, you could get the dogs that just everything clicks really quickly, and then some dogs it's not.
What about the people that maybe you're in between sessions? I don't know how long. Maybe it's a week between sessions, and that you can tell they're not doing anything at home.
Oh, yeah, I can tell. So
what do you do in that situation?
I call them out. So I'll call them out. I'll be like, hey,
yeah.
when did you, like, your dog is, like, so superstitious of this e-call, or, like, really use the leash pressure associated with it. And they're like, oh, well, I've only been putting it on, like, for 5 minutes and, like, walking them 5 minutes. I'm like, well, that's not how your dog's going to learn. Like, you got to practice and do, like, little increments here and there, and, you know, leave it on and, like, let them just understand what this is. Otherwise, they're going to be like, what? Who's this lady coming over? And, you know. Yeah. So, yeah, I could tell when people don't follow through.
Oh, yeah. You ever have anybody you're like, hey, this ain't, you got to do your work, otherwise we ain't going to do nothing.
Yeah.
Like, I'm done until you tell me that you're doing the work. Have you ever done that before?
Yeah, I'll be like, hey, you guys want it, your goal is to go to the beach and go off leash. Guess what? You're going to have to add a couple more sessions because this dog's not understanding, and it's not fair. I always say that because it really isn't. You don't want your dog to be superstitious of the collar. You want your dog to blatantly understand what you're saying and what you're trying to communicate with them. And when you hold them accountable, they're not nervous about it. They're like, oh, okay, you know, like, so that's where I'm like, hey, your dog, when was the last time you put the collar on the dog? Oh, well, I haven't had time.
Oh, there we go.
I'm like, okay, well, I'm like, if you guys want success, which is, it's different when you're one-on-one and then when you're a board and train, right? Because if I have the dog in my care, I know that dog's getting followed throughout the day. So, it's just keeping everyone on their toes, and I love all my clients, but some are some I'm like, come on, you know, like
some you have to hold more accountable than others.
Yes,
you know what I'm
like
saying?
You know, there's people that constantly text me, and I don't mind that, to be honest.
Have you created boundaries around that at this point?
I've done better. I have. Like, you get really excited at first, and then you're like, okay, well, it's Sunday at 11:30 at night, so maybe we should turn this off.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
My boyfriend will be like, don't text back. Don't text back. It's 9 o'clock at night.
My wife is the one that has created my boundaries for me as time goes on. She's like, all right, you got to stop doing this. All right, it's time to stop. I'm like, okay, whatever, you know.
Yeah. It's hard.
If you're the one that's in it, you're the dog trainer, you know, you really care about the people, you care about the dog. You want to be able to correspond with them very quickly. You know what I'm saying? That's one of the benefits to us growing our team. We have an on-call trainer. That's their job. Hey, someone text, you know, at this time, it's your responsibility, even if I train the dog, so I can have my off time. And then next week, when I'm on call and you're off, I'm covering down on your people.
Yeah.
And if they want to talk to you specifically, we'll get them on when you're back at work, technically. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I did some private lessons back when I was starting up Canine Revolution, and I was just having a hard time with it. I was trying my best, you know, but there was just too many people that were like not doing it at all. And my lessons were, I was trying to have them do everything. So I'm like, all right, I show you guys how to do engagement. Your job this week, go home, do engagement. I'll see you next week. I want to see engagement.
Yeah.
Come back next week. There's nothing there. So I literally would do the engagement lesson again. I'm like, all right, we're doing the engagement lesson again. You know, we're not proceeding, and you're just going to pay. Oh,
you're tough. Yeah.
And that's what I did. And then eventually, like, the board and train picked up enough to where I was like, all right, we're done with the private lessons.
Yeah, it's tough.
You know. So hats off to you for continuing, you know.
Yeah, I got that. Like, so I have a little bit of New York in me, so I'll be like, hey, I'm going to be honest with you. Like, if the engagement is obviously the biggest part of the first lesson, right? And I can tell if they have not worked with the dog. And
the dog loves seeing you, though. They're like, ooh, I'm having a good time with you. Reward events, chasing you around, whatever, you know.
Yeah, and I think people don't realize how much goes into it.
Yeah.
And how many steps there are. Especially when I took the Michael Ellis classes. I was like, oh, wow, this is like pretty crazy.
Oh, yeah.
So, but I loved it because it made so much sense. And it helped me so much as a trainer to communicate with my clients, like, how important this is.
Yeah.
And, you know, if you don't have engagement from your dog, what do you have, really? So, that's like the foundation of everything.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah.
If he's not listening to you, what, you know?
If he doesn't even want to pay attention to you, how are you going to teach him something?
You're going to have a dog chasing deer throughout Fire Island.
On the blacklist. Good to go.
Dog's on the blacklist, yep.
So you got Edmund, right?
Edmund.
So what was the situation with that?
Oh.
Quick, you know, how you guys got him.
So quarantine.
Quarantine puppy.
Quarantine puppy, like everyone else, you know. So he's, we actually put a deposit down on a litter with a breeder in Asheville, and the puppies ended up, the mom ended up miscarrying the puppies. So, of course, I'm a determined person. So I'm like, no, I want a Rottweiler puppy. So I had emailed a ton of breeders that were really like, had great reviews and offered for me to like come to their place and all that kind of stuff. So, and this was my first time ever looking into a breeder puppy because I was all about the rescue.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
Got a little flack for that. So,
I mean, what's your thoughts on that? Give us your thoughts.
Honestly, my thoughts
Straight
have
up.
developed more balanced now
Yeah.
about that. Of course, there are backyard breeders, but there are really great breeders that want to preserve the breed and want to like do right by the breed. And, you know, it's really hard to see like people are like, don't go to breeders. Some people just need a dog that they know those genetics are going to be there. You know, if like a family is like, hey, I want to know that this puppy has good genetics, they may not want to go with the rescue puppy because they don't know the genetics of that puppy,
Right.
which is a main part of a dog's makeup. So I have a lot of sympathy and understanding with
Right.
people that are like, you know, we weren't supposed to go to a breeder. I'm like,
Yeah.
you know what? If you got the dog you wanted, that's all that matters,
Yeah.
you know, and you're happy.
Maybe they want a specific breed. You know,
Yeah.
maybe they, especially if they want the dog for a specific purpose, or if you have someone that needs a dog for a specific purpose, like you said, you got to
Exactly.
have those genetics.
Exactly.
You know. But
Generally,
if you're not into all that and you just want a dog, you know, go down to the shelter, grab a dog, grab a trainer, help you pick out a good dog for you.
I've offered that to people too.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, I'll go with you. I'll eval a dog for you if you want,
Yeah.
just to make sure you're getting a really nice dog. I've done it for a client before. I went with her to a foster's house, and I was like, hey, this dog's awesome. Like, and she's in love with the dog. She loves the dog, and it was like 3 years old. So I love doing that. I think it's great.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I was looking for a breeder dog. Sorry, but
No issues.
and the mom ended up miscarrying the puppies. So I was like, I'm gonna go on this page or whatever. So I see this lady post Edmund.
Yeah.
It's her own personal dog, and he has the cutest little face. He's probably like 3.5 months old in the picture, 4 months old. I'm like, oh my gosh, that is like the cutest puppy I've ever seen in my life. So I email her and I'm like, hey, what's his situation? Why are you giving him up? Are there any like questionable behaviors or anything? Because I really did want a dog that, you know, Chase is getting older. Maverick's not the best dog to bring around other dogs sometimes. So I really needed a dog because Chase is getting tired. He's 12.
Yeah.
So only wants to work like a couple days a week.
He's retired.
Yeah, he's basically retired. Like he's living his
hanging out.
best life.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm really looking for a dog with a good temperament and all that. She's like, I have 4 toddlers, a cat, and a Yorkie.
Nice.
So I think what happened was she got the dog for her husband while he was on a ship doing welding or something.
Okay.
He came home to a Yorkie and a new Rottweiler. And they're busy.
Yeah.
They got a lot of kids.
Yeah.
So he was like, what are we going to do with all these dogs, you know? So she posted him, and I was like, hey, I can come up Friday. So it was a 7-hour drive. I drove to Virginia Beach, eval'd him, and I was like, all right, I'll take him. He was a little aloof, I will say. Like he was very nervous. Like I wasn't taking him out of a bad situation. He came from a really nice family that had very good intentions.
Yeah.
And you know, he was a well-rounded pup.
Yeah.
So she was like, you know, don't worry, his head will get bigger.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
like, no, I don't care about that. I just care about like you know, everyone's so worried about like what their dog's going to look like. So I was like, no. I was like, he's great. I'll take him. And we ended up texting back and forth, and I think she ended up getting really sad, and she ended up like blocking me a little bit.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
She didn't want to see anything?
I don't think she wanted to see. I felt bad. I was like, I didn't know if they were upset about it. They didn't like cry or anything when I took them.
They're the ones that gave him up.
I know. So I was like, oh, that's kind of stinks,
Yeah.
but maybe it's for the best. Who knows?
I'm sure that's tough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He did come from a breeder, and And I contacted the breeder, so I wonder if that had anything to do with it.
Oh,
I
really?
just, well, not saying like,
You're
oh my
just getting
God.
some more info.
I just wanted
Yeah.
info on his parents. I
Yeah.
just wanted to know. And he was like, oh, the parents are great, great
Yeah.
temperament. You know, there was nothing like, oh my gosh, your customer gave me your dog.
Yeah.
It was more like just out of curiosity,
Yeah.
kind of where he came from as a puppy and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and that's the story of Edmund. And of course, all my clients see Edmund. They get to meet him at least a couple times. So,
Yeah. Good to go.
yeah.
He's in all your Instagram stories and all that, hanging out, having a good time.
Yeah,
Yep.
just
being a good role model to
sprawled-
the new students.
Yes,
you know?
he tries. Sprawled out, rolling around, you know, downstay.
Good to go. So,
So-
why'd you go with Rottweiler?
Well, I know my middle child, she's not like the best representation of the breed, but I love how loyal they are. So and I was planning on having him be like a real working dog.
Yeah.
Dog gasses out like so quick. So that might not be in his future, but he
Yeah.
is a great dog to, you know, show my clients what to do and stuff. And
Yeah.
he really has proven to be like an asset
Yeah.
to me, and it's been awesome. And that's what I really wanted. I wanted a nice, sociable dog. He didn't have to be like best friends with every single human, but he had to, you know, show obedience. And he was great to work with. I took Michael Ellis's class with him, the first Principles of Dog Training and the second one.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and I look
Good.
forward to maybe taking some more.
Awesome. Good to go.
Yeah.
So you got 3 dogs in the pack. You know,
Oh, yeah.
Edmund's the one that's going around with you most of the time,
Most
doing
of the
your
time.
appointments and all that kind of stuff, hanging out with you, getting some breaks in between. You guys are going on some walks and stuff.
Yeah.
So that's
Yes.
good to go. So anyway, and that's where you're at right now, right? You're full-time doing the dog stuff. Where do you see yourself going from here? What's your plans?
Oh my gosh. I love where I'm at right now. Obviously, I want to expand a little bit. So, like I said, I plan on buying a house with some property. You know, getting permits to maybe do some boarding for clients that train with me. So when they go away, they know that okay, our trainer has the dog and is going to be actually like fulfilling the dog's needs instead of just letting it out in a pen with 20 other dogs and actually working with the dog.
Yeah.
So I've kind of come up with a business plan as far as like how many dogs I'll take and what I'll start with and see how much I can handle. But at least I know there'll all be clients that I know the dog. You know, I hear a lot of stories, especially of like single dog trainers that take on these dogs that are super aggressive. And, you know, you guys got a team. So like
It wasn't always that way.
Yeah.
It
So
used
if
to be
something
just
goes
me.
wrong and you're like, I'm on dog trainer pages where one girl was like mauled by a King Corso and, you know, she was trying to get him out of the crate and he just full on mauled her.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know, that's something I'll have to consider. Do I want to take on dogs like that? Probably not.
Yeah.
Because, you know, am I confident and like if this dog like gets on me, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
So,
Well, you learn things along the way. You
Yeah.
know, if you ever get to that point, you
Yeah.
know, let me, you know, give you some of things that we've learned along the way. But we've been in that situation where we got a dog. They're cool at first. You know, you intake them into
comfortable.
you intake them into the environment. They get you. They're watching the routine. They know what's going on. They know the players and the you know the people that are moving around, the handlers. And then they get comfortable and they're like, you know what? I'm taking a stand today. You know.
It's like the honeymoon phase. You're like, oh, nothing's
yeah.
really going on. And then,
Yeah.
like, it changes real quick.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
You got an idea of how many dogs you're going to limit yourself to if you do that boarding situation where you take your clients' dogs?
Maybe like 3 to 5 to start. And then, like, tone down my sessions a day.
Yeah.
Less driving.
That's good. If you can lessen the driving
Yes.
for sure. You know, especially with gas prices keep going up.
I was like, oh my gosh, it was like $30 to fill. And I have a Palisade, so it's a big car.
Yeah.
It's like $35 last year to fill up the car. Now it's like $62.
Oh yeah. It's
I'm
insane.
like, what is going on? I filled up my gas 3 times this week.
Oh
And I'm
my
like, I don't want to
gosh.
raise my prices because I feel like my prices kind of, they're a good middle of the road price. They're not too cheap and they're not too expensive. And
Don't price yourself too cheap.
I know.
You know?
I'll have to ask you about that one.
Yeah.
You know, but I actually did a seminar with a trainer
you
talking
did?
about pricing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
I was like, oh, this sounds cool.
Yeah.
So I actually took a little bit of what he said. I thought his prices were really high, but I upped my price like $25 an hour, and then I also added in the group training.
Oh.
So once the dogs, this is an option. Like if you wanted to do dog training or come see me every Saturday for life. You got that, right?
Yeah,
So it's that one package, but they have to do the training first, and I have to tell them that they can go into the class. So they got to do their work to get to the class.
Absolutely.
And he was like, you can give them a little bit of a higher price, but then they got that training for life every Saturday morning.
Right.
So if the dog needs a couple tweaks or they have any questions, they have you every Saturday.
Yeah.
So I've actually really liked that.
Yeah.
it's really nice to see all my people
it's
come
good
back.
for them too, if they can operate around each other.
Mm-hmm.
Are you, whenever you're doing those, do you have any situations where a dog might be special? You know what I'm saying? You're like, I'm keeping an eye on you, Or
I told one of my clients the other day, I was like, I got my eye on that one. So, or I'll be like, you walk next to me,
Yeah.
And I feel confident that, I've known these dogs, so I feel confident they can handle the dog. But sometimes if people fall off the training, I'm like, I haven't seen you in like a month, you know?
Absolutely.
And, I could tell if they haven't been following through on things. So that it just motivates them to come back again. They're like, I'll see you next week, you know?
Good.
So I've actually really liked those classes, and they all seem to enjoy it because some people, their dogs can't go into like play group, and everyone like loops their dogs into like, we're getting a puppy and it's going to go to the dog park every day. I'm like, oh gosh, so some of these dogs can't do that, and they don't have that personality. No, 3 of my dogs I don't ever bring to a dog park. So it's okay, but the fact that your dog could socialize and walk next to 4 other dogs or do a downstay next to 4 other dogs is more important than if your dog could go to a dog park.
Absolutely.
So I
and
think
you
they
walk
all
them
really
through downtown a lot of times too. So there's other dogs.
Yep.
There's horses. There's people. There's kids. There's all kinds of stuff going on.
Oh yeah. Tons of distractions.
You got the downtown guinea flock. Have you seen that before?
No, I saw it on your. I started laughing. I'm like, of course. I have not seen that, and I'm down there a lot. So I was like,
now you got to be looking out for them because they're there. They're
good
just
distraction
wandering
work.
around.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So the group classes are great.
I love them. They're awesome.
What lessons have you learned up to this point in business? So starting up your business, what were the struggles? What have you learned as you went along the way, if you have any?
Scheduling.
Yep.
Scheduling myself out, knowing when to put that phone down is a huge one. Also not like, this is going to sound weird, but not being like so much of a people pleaser. Like I have learned to stick to my guns more, and if someone has like an aggressive dog, they're like, can we just do like positive only reinforcement? I'm like, you know what? Like, no. I was like, it's not going to work. This will only take you so far. Of course, we want to start with all that.
Right.
But, this is like, now you got liability on your hands.
Absolutely.
And so being firm with like how I train. I used to be very insecure with it. Because people just, they have such a bad association. So being confident with myself was something that I've learned.
That's a developed skill too. Everybody, honestly, any service industry, I feel like where you're like going into somebody's house. Of course, you're going to be a little bit like,
Yes. And
developed skill for sure.
Just the boundaries too of people. For the most part, all my clients are great. That all my current clients that I've had have been awesome. That have stuck with it. You get more people that are a little more needy than others, and you want to answer everyone's questions, but you got to turn it off at one point.
What about like accounting? Did you learn?
That was tough. So when I was doing my books, I bring it to my accountant. I'm like, listen, I like did all this by myself. She's like, actually, it's not that bad. I'm like, good. Oh God.
That was way different than my first conversation with my accountant.
She was like, you have to be more organized a little bit. Like, don't put this stuff, and she's like, you're trying to buy a house, so you can't write off certain things that can be written off because like the gas, all that kind of stuff is a huge write-off. And she was like, you don't want to really write all that off just yet, especially if you're trying to buy a house. So she was like trying to explain a lot of that to me. She honestly, it was like the best education as far as finances go, because she'd be like, hey, you got to categorize that in that area. And I'm like, oh gosh, there's a lot of things here.
I messed up my books so bad. My accountant's like, if you just pay me this, I'll fix everything for you. I was like, done. And I was like, how about I just pay you every month and you just do my books for me, because I'm just not good at the accounting thing, but I meet with them routinely, and we're like, all right, where are we at? We're looking good. Hey, I'd ask them all the time, like, should we change this? Should we change that? But that's one of those things, as a small business owner, you figure that out as you go as well. But I always tell people that are starting up businesses now, I'm like, don't just jump into your books and think you can do it yourself. Go get an accountant.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
It was the best thing I ever did. So now we have on like a quarterly schedule.
Yeah.
So
Good to go. Yeah. Awesome.
I was never good with money to begin with. So like when I was like, oh, I got to be like really responsible. I have my own business, and you know, is that a write-off?
Your dogs are relying on you.
I know.
They're looking to you for food and
Yep.
you know, shelter, and
Yeah.
So you too. You're looking to yourself for that. You know.
Yep. Shelter and food.
Yep.
Super important.
Any other lessons learned from business that you care to share? Maybe there's a young dog trainer out there, young green dog trainer.
Yeah,
any pointers you can give them?
Any pointers. So, you know, if you're the kind of person, you have to be a people person too. You can't just be a dog person. You can't just want to like play with all the dogs. It's not how it works. You know, you got to
so you're telling me if I'm a dog trainer, I'm not just playing with dogs all day?
No, you got to form a relationship with those owners. You know, they got to trust you, especially if it's like you're taking a dog into your home. You have to form a trust and all that kind of stuff with the owner that you're going to take great care of their dog and do everything appropriately. So I have to have the owner's trust that when I come over, I'm giving them the appropriate information that's going to, you know, enhance their relationship with their dog.
Yeah.
So I think that you have to have some people skills involved with dog training, because you're going to get, you know, the lady that's hysterical crying as soon as you walk in the door. You're going to get the person that's very like, you know, skeptical of the whole thing.
Yeah.
They might have had a bad experience with another dog trainer, or they just, you know, they've had dogs their whole life and they don't think that the dog needs it.
Yeah.
So you just have to learn how to deal with different people and, you know, people from different walks of life. And it's just, it's actually a really good learning experience.
What did you do to develop your skill about handling people? Did you study any books or material or podcasts, or you just learn as you went?
I've actually started listening to a lot of dog training podcasts. I listen to yours. I listen to Canine Paradigm.
Oh, yeah,
I really
that's a good
like
one.
them.
That's a good one.
They're funny too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's
so
Australian.
And
good to go.
yeah, it's different. Like the wording they say, I'm like, oh my, can you even say that on a podcast? But so, and just hearing them talk about clients they've dealt with and stuff, and I'm like, oh, you know, that's it's, you know, when to stick up for yourself or when, you know, you compromise with someone. I've learned a lot that way. But for the most part, you know, you learn to compromise with people, but also like stick to your guns and always follow what you believe in and what you were taught, and have confidence in yourself, you know, but that comes over time, like we talked about, because I wasn't so confident in the beginning. I was very insecure.
None of us were.
Yeah.
You know?
I was like, oh gosh, I hope these people don't think I'm like,
you
know, and then, you know, you want people to trust you. So you have to have a level of confidence when you walk into someone's house.
Yeah.
But it definitely comes over time. And, you know, if you have a passion, it doesn't have to be dog training, you know, follow it. It took a long time for me to get to this point where I feel confident walking into someone's house.
Yeah.
You know, I probably spent a good deal on the phone with them before I go into their house. And I kind of know what's going on. And then, you know, when I get there, sometimes it's a little different. But you kind of just roll with the punches at that point, and you get into like a groove. And, you know, you could see things like that are the same. You go into people's house, you're like, okay, you got a little out of control puppy. People are like, this dog's aggressive. And I'm like, this dog is just trying to play bite and all this stuff. You know, we can fix that really easily. So, but yeah, have confidence in yourself. Make sure you're going to great teachers. You know, have people rooting for you, all that kind of stuff, and a good foundation of support.
Also got to have somebody that goes along support that you can kind of unload on, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm assuming for you that's probably like a friend or your boyfriend or something where it's like, oh my gosh, this happened today. I just got to tell you about it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Jen and I are still like best friends. And I'll call her and I'll be like, oh my gosh, you don't even understand what just happened on that phone call. Or, you know, I'll get some, it's very few and far in between, but really funny stories. And she'll tell me some funny stories. And, you know, it's nice to have that camaraderie with someone, because you know, no one wants to hear about you talk about dogs all day and your clients all day. But yeah, I'll tell my boyfriend a lot of stuff. I'll be like, oh, that's weird. He's like, is that normal? Like, you know, and he's always asking me, what kind of dog is that? Like every time a dog passes.
Oh, yeah.
So he's curious now. He used to not be into the dogs, but he's very supportive, and it's nice to have, you know, people that support you. My parents really, they really support me now, but it took my mom a long time to not call me like a dog walker anymore, you know?
Yeah.
Love you, Mom.
They were skeptical at first. They were a little skeptical. They're like, "Are you really gonna earn a living being a dog trainer?" They had that conversation with you.
They just are like, "You go to college, you do this, you get this, right?"
Yeah, and old school mentality.
Old school mentality, you know. But they're so supportive and they're really proud. So it's really nice to, you know, show everyone what I can do.
I know she was looking forward to the podcast because she's like, "Is it live? Where do I log in?"
Oh,
you know,
yeah. My mom's like,
posted.
"Wait, do I listen to FM, AM?"
But, you know, so that support thing is huge, you know.
Yeah.
And the good part is talking to other dog trainers. So you having the ability to talk to Jen or, you know, I'm sure me and you could get on the phone like, "Hey, let me just tell you about this.
Yeah,
what do you think about this?" You know, whatever. But it's good to talk to other dog trainers that understand, hey, I understand that, been there before, doing that right now, you know, that type of situation.
Yeah, and it's weird because this environment, you know, I've come to Hampton Park before and I've been training dogs and, you know, you can see like, I know who the trainers are around town and I could, you know, some trainers are like, "Hey, what's up?" And then there are the other trainers that are like staring at you, like giving you dirty looks.
All the time.
I'm like, and you know, I could see that person's like logo on the side of their car. I'm like, "Oh, you're giving me the dirty look. Okay, let me just look at one."
I've legit seen another dog trainer. I know who they are. They know who I am. I'm like, "Hey, good morning." I'm just walking a dog.
Yeah.
They're walking a dog, and they just literally blank face, won't say anything. I'm like, seriously?
It's so strange. And it's such a... And then there's like the positive reinforcement dog trainers, you know?
Like, "Oh, you're bad."
Yeah.
Like, "You're a bad person."
They're
thinking we're bad, you know?
Yeah, I'm like this. I'm trying to teach this one couple, and they're at like, I think they're on their last session. The dog was doing amazing, and she's staring at me, and I'm just like... And then the dog, and then the owner was handling the dog, and she kept rolling her eyes and passing back and forth. And I'm like, "Is this lady serious?" But I was like, "Let's just go over here." Like, this is so stupid. But there's no reason for that because, you know, we're all really trying. We all have one goal. So we all want to help people and their dogs, right? For the most part, all good trainers want to increase that or, you know, help that experience that you're having with your dog when they walk into your house. So however people get there, you know, as long as you're not doing anything really bad, that's really all that matters.
Well, that's one thing I've appreciated about you is, you know, me and you will chat back and forth all the time, but you were never, I even forget how we started talking to each other, but I
don't know. Was it? Yeah, I have no idea, actually.
It was never like, you know, "You're a bad person," or "You're another dog trainer in my area."
Oh, gosh.
You know, like, I can't talk to you.
Get
you
out
know?
of my way.
Like,
yeah.
We were always cool. You know? And I remember seeing you at a distance one time at downtown at the Battery, I think. I
think I waved to you guys, but I was like, I don't think they saw me.
Yeah, like we were teaching a class. You were teaching somebody else.
Yes.
I was like, "Oh, did she just wave? Oh, shoot, that's Megan." I was like, I never met you in real life, so I wasn't really exactly sure, you know, exactly what you look like, you know. So I was like, "Oh, shoot, that's Megan." And then, like, you were gone, we were gone. I was like, "Oh, maybe next time," you know.
I might have waved to, I think it was Chris.
Oh, yeah, Chris won't wave back. He's mean.
No, he just looked at me and was like...
And then Chris, we have like a Facebook chat with all our trainers, and Chris will be like, "Yeah, I saw some trainer, and I tried to wave at him. They never waved back, you know." Or, "I was in competition with somebody at the park today." I'm like, "Chris, you're not in competition."
Oh, so he like, yeah, okay.
Not with you, you know, but like other people.
Next time I see him, I'll be like, "Let's have like, you know, let's have a train off."
Yeah. Well, this is funny. One time he thought he was in competition with the trainer in downtown Somerville. He's got a dog there.
That's hysterical.
There's somebody down the way with the German Shepherd. They're doing all these intense commands off leash, and he's messaging. He's like, "Oh, shoot, so and so. Hey, I'm seeing this happen. This and that and this and that." He's giving a description of the person and the dog, and in my head, I'm racking my brain about who it is, and I'm like, "I trained that dog. That's one of our clients." I'm like, "That's so and so." He's like, "Oh my gosh, they're good. They're good." And then there was another time he saw this lady way across the park, and he's like, "Oh, we're doing a train off, me and this girl." And then it turned out to be one of our own trainers, just far. He couldn't recognize him that far away. And he's like, "Oh, that's Lexi." You know, it's like, really, Chris?
That's really funny.
He's just having a good time with it. He's a nice guy. You know, he's just having a good time with it.
Yeah, that's really funny.
What, Ben? Is he a nice guy? He's good to go? Yeah, he's out of it. He's out of it. He's in his own world. But yeah, it's crazy. Like, you see other trainers, you can't, you know, talk to them. That's like, what the norm is. Yeah.
Oh, okay, no.
But I've always appreciated me and you being able to have conversation.
Yeah, of course.
I appreciate you being able to sit down with us today, take a whole afternoon, and, you know.
Yeah, I was looking forward to it.
Yeah.
A little nervous.
Good to go. No issues.
Yeah. I know how we probably initially started talking. So we had shared a client because, like I said.
Oh, that's right. Murphy? Murray, yeah.
So, great dog, great family. But definitely they were going away for a while. They were like, listen, we want this dog. They came so far and they were like, we want this dog to be trained. Can you take him? And I was like, I appreciate you guys asking. I can't.
Yeah.
But I know who can.
Yeah.
And I sent them over to you and they're like, thank you so much. And I actually saw him. I think I had messaged you. I said, oh my gosh, that's Murray. I'm so glad he went there. You know, and that's like the beauty of training is you always want something that's great for the dog. You always want to make sure that like you're sending them off to, you know, a good place if you have to recommend them to someone else.
Yeah.
I said, please don't send him to like boarding because he'll just regress and get back to his puppy behavior and all that kind of stuff that they worked really hard on. But I saw him after training and I was like, he looks great.
He's a good guy.
Great guy.
And people are good people too. Really like those people.
I think they were like, oh, we're sending him to boarding. We're going away again. Yeah. I'm like, oh, awesome. I'm so glad because, you know, they really just wanted to get a handle on that behavior so bad. And I was like, it wasn't bad behavior. It was just typical puppy stuff that they weren't used to.
He's a big puppy.
Big puppy. Yes.
Yeah, they're good people. But yeah, that's the other thing I appreciate about our relationship is before me and you started talking and all that, like people would say, hey, I'm not cool with the board and train. I'm like, hey, I respect that.
Yeah.
You know, but we don't do private lessons like we used to. We just don't. We don't have time for it, you know, for the way we do things. It's just, you know, and so ever since me and you started talking, I'm like, okay, she does things literally the same way we do. Yeah. It's just in a private lesson format. If you hit us up, and you don't want private lesson, I'm like, hey, I got someone for you. Yeah. You know, and our whole team knows because we have a whole team of people that communicate with people that are interested in training, and they got your website, your name. They're like, hey, if someone's asking for private lessons, shoot them to her.
Yeah, I just had someone the other day. They're like, Canine Revolution recommended me. I'm like, that's awesome.
Yeah, and that's to me, that's good dog training community. Being able to do that versus, you know what, we don't do any private lessons. I wouldn't recommend anybody. You can't do them. Don't do private lessons. You know?
That's where like the ego comes in. You know, when like even watching Michael Ellis, right? You watch that guy and
that
he
dude's
has
humble.
No ego. Yeah. It is like he's just amazing. Like there is no. He just doesn't act like he's the best in the world, and he is so down to earth. I was doing a Zoom call with him, and this guy kept asking a ton of questions, and he literally sat there for
really
30 minutes and answered this guy's questions, and I was just like, what a great guy. He probably has so many other things going on.
Oh yeah.
But it's just like those type of people that are great, people to look up to.
Well, he's got like 9 Malinois himself.
I know.
He pulls up to the school like in a van. They're all in there, and he just pulls them out and trains with them. And it's like, oh my God, how do you train 9 of these dogs?
I know.
Running a business and doing the breeding and training trainers. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he had to cancel a couple of our Zoom calls because
oh really?
One of last year he had a litter going on.
Oh yeah.
So he was like, oh, I got caught up with the puppies. Got to cancel. We got to go tomorrow. But yeah, cool. I was like, this guy, does he sleep?
Yeah.
I don't think
so.
No,
I don't think so.
There's no way he sleeps.
He's definitely looking older these days. It might be catching up to him.
Hopefully he's not listening to this.
Yeah. He ain't listening. We're too small time. We're too small time for him. It was funny too in class, like the protection classes. And actually, one of my really good friends from the Michael Ellis School, she's a trainer up in New York.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I forgot what part. But anyway,
anything north of the city, I have no idea what's going on.
She's up there.
Oh,
she just got a nice property and all that. And we had someone from New York hit us up, and they wanted to bring their dog down here. I was like, hey, just go to Alex. She's right up there with you. Yeah. But it was funny because whenever he's changing into the protection gear, he just changes right there in front of everybody. It's just funny.
I heard like he had like he was talking on a podcast, I forget what it was, and he was talking about how he had like hot pink boxers on.
Oh, he has the crazy clothes underneath, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But cool, no ego, good to go. Yeah. No issues. So
just changed right there. Yeah. No time for breaks.
When I first saw him changing in front of everybody, I was like, this is interesting. So whatever, no big deal.
That'd be like a dream of mine to go out there. But
Yeah.
he started doing, I guess, more seminars. He said he's going to try and do.
Yeah.
And get off of the.
I think with the COVID stuff, it changed a lot of the. Well, California is California, so they have a lot of strict regulations and all that. So.
Yeah. He said he's going to like start some new classes too to like branch off, and he was saying that instead of. So the way my class worked is you would put in the work, you would submit the videos and all that, and then they would critique you. He said you would be doing it interactively, so he can critique you then, and then you can work on it, because you'd be a week out, and then you'd be like, oh, I have to fix this, you know?
Yeah.
So he's going to try to do more interactive classes where,
That's
he
cool.
looks at us on like a Zoom or whatever, and he can, I'm like, that's awesome, I would do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Probably eat some humble pie while I'm at it, but,
He's the master.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Always good to, and I mean, our training team, all of our trainers, we do something. We're like, all right, let's debrief. You know, Chris, what did you see? Because Chris will see something that I didn't. I'm working with the dog. I see one thing that I'm doing. He's on the outside looking in.
Yeah.
Kevin sees something. Samantha sees something. Lexi sees. Ben sees something. Ben's like, hey, that's you ought to probably change this or that. You know what I'm saying? So having a team that you can work with. And it's not about I'm better than you. That's not what it's about. It's about how can we all develop to get better. You know what I'm saying?
Of course, yeah.
And that's the same thing when you're meeting with your clients. It's not about, nitpicking every little thing. It's about like what can we all do to get better. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that also challenges you as a trainer. Like if you're in front of your clients or your peers, let me make sure I'm getting my reps in. You know what I'm saying? Doing things the way they need to be done, so on and so forth. You know what I'm saying?
And then there's that balance, like when you're doing one-on-one, you're like, hey, I'm not nitpicking you, but like let's change this up a little bit. And you have to, I have had to learn to, my tone can be very direct. And sometimes like, it's that New York thing,
You're getting intense on the
I'm
people.
like, oh my gosh, I'm not like criticizing you. And everyone's like, you're a good balance between like really nice and then like very firm, like especially if we're dealing like with a more severe case or something. So, but I try to be like, I'm not nitpicking you. I was like, let's just change that. And then like, you'll see how the dog changes along with that too. So it's always a learning experience dealing with people. Like people are sometimes more naturally able to work their dog than some other people.
Yeah.
So, you have to deal with that too.
What about, you're running a business, taking care of dogs, taking care of people. You're on the road all day, moving around, doing your thing. You got to take care of your own dogs.
Oh, yeah.
What are some of your must-have items? Like in the morning, do you load out your car? All right, today I'm going to these places. Let me load out my car and make sure I got everything I need for the day.
I load everything up. Sometimes I load them all in. I'm like, hey, I can't get a break in. Because sometimes I'll put a big gap in my schedule, like midday. And I'll be like, all right, I got to take the older guys out, take them on a little walk. And then they usually do get a full walk when I get back. And then sometimes they come with me. Like, I use Chase still sometimes. I think he really, he likes doing it. So I still use him for that. If I know that, it's kind of a final session with the client, I'll bring all three. And if I know the client's dog is well-proofed and doing really well, I'll bring all three. But sometimes I feel like I need that, like, one-on-one with them. Yeah. So, I'll pack out the car.
What do you got? Snacks, laptop, books? What are you taking?
So I will bring... don't really bring my laptop, but I bring the water for the dogs.
Gotta have it. Hydration.
Yes.
Water for you?
Sometimes. I'm horrible at hydrating, but I will stop at a gas station and I will load up snacks, or I'll like have a box of like energy bars in my center console. Yeah. Get a banana here and there sometimes, that is one thing that I am very bad at, is like, okay, it's 4 o'clock. I had one banana.
Oh, gosh.
I do have breakfast in the morning before I leave, and then I'm like, I have to, stock up. But water for the dogs, all my equipment that I'll need. I'll be like, okay, who are we seeing today? So we need a couple e-collars. We need, some prawn collars, ton of treats, always treats.
Oh, yeah.
So.
What's your go-to food reward?
So I use Happy Howies, which, are pretty cool. And then if I really... getting a jam and they're, out of stock, I'll use some pepperonis. Smelly, good soft, choice. Palatable.
Any hot dogs in your arsenal?
No, but I thought about using them because I don't really eat pork. So when I have the smell on my hand, I'm like, ugh.
You don't like it, yeah.
But Yeah, I tell people if they want to stock up, like when I'm, if we're on like the later sessions, I kind of expect my clients to be, they have their bait bag. I'm like,
have
hey,
your equipment.
Yeah. So I'm like, if you want to be successful, you got to be prepared. So I'm like, if you guys want to use something else, because some people are like, well, my dog has allergies to,
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, you can stock up on this.
Yeah.
And, but sometimes they'll use some chicken jerky, turkey jerky.
Whatever's ready, available, and good to go for the dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Happy Howies are my first choice.
Happy Howies are good.
Yeah.
Yep. How do you cut them up? You got a secret?
I slice them into like just thin slices and then stack them and then do the quarters, like squares.
I got a secret for you.
Oh, really?
You ready for it?
Yes.
Learned this from Michael Ellis.
Oh, man. I need to know.
You take it out of the thing, right? The sleeve, slice it up like, your thin slices, your pepperoni. You get an onion chopper.
Oh.
And you get it's got either a 1/4 inch grate or a 1/2 inch grate. So I go with the 1/2 inch grate, but you put the 1/2 inch on there, you put your slice, well, boom, and you just slice them.
That'll save me a ton of
so
time.
fast. And you just make a bunch of them, then you can throw them in the freezer or the fridge or whatever in big gallon freezer bags, and then just dump them into your whatever way you like to carry them around, your bait bag or anything like that.
Yeah, with a plastic bag. Yeah.
You can crank through a case of them real quick doing that,
Oh yeah, I could go through like a roll really easily.
Oh yeah.
In like
absolutely.
a session. It's amazing how many treats you use.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everyone's like, oh, they use e-collars, they don't use food. I'm like, you'd be amazed. Some people get more uncomfortable with the amount of food their dog got in a session than anything else.
You're gonna use more food at first, and it'll fade out later.
Exactly. Yep.
Well, what's your morning routine? So you got your setup for the day, right? What's your morning routine? You get up. What time you getting up? What are you doing?
So usually 5 o'clock. Head to an exercise class, Ethos, downtown, and then come home, take the dogs out, do a little, pee and poop action there with the dogs, and
now
then
when you get up at 5, are they still snoring?
Well, Chase is. Okay. I actually have to like pick Chase up out of bed.
Oh, really?
Yes, he's getting old.
He's getting that old, huh?
Yeah. So, but he's just always kind of been like that. Like if he's in the house, he was never like that hyper dog.
Yeah.
But if he was out in the wild, he was like chasing everything he could.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's still like, if he sees a cat, he gets like a little like, and it's kind of funny because I like it now because I'm like, oh, he's older. So it's nice to see that life come back. But so he wants to stay in bed. Maverick and Edmund are like ready to go. Oh my God, where are we going? Like, I'm like, relax. We're getting, take them out to go to the bathroom, feed them, go to the gym, and then come back, take them out again, and get everyone settled, load the car up, and then usually I'll put like Edmund in the car before I leave everyone while it's running, and then we head out. So like my sessions usually start at 9 a.m.
Yeah.
So
sessions are about an hour, or how long?
About an hour. Sometimes if there's more intense behaviors that need to be talked about, it'll go over an hour, just so I can thoroughly explain everything to everyone.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Gotcha. Good to go. And so then at the end of the day, what's kind of like your wrap-up routine? You got a routine when you wrap up, or just depends on the day? Or?
Yeah. So I'll usually, if Edmund's with me, I'll bring him home. He gets fed, and then I'll give the other two my time.
Yeah.
Maverick loves fetch, so we'll go out. We'll go out in the back and play fetch, and Chase will have his e-collar on, and he'll just like, we have this huge green space.
Yeah.
He'll go sniff, pee on things.
He's
favorite thing to do.
Around.
Yeah, just moseying around, like living life,
being
rolling
old
around.
Man.
Yes,
yeah.
Exactly. So someone's like, why does he still have an e-collar? I'm like, because there's gators, and he loves to go by the pond. So I was like, it's if he gets a scent, he's still who he is. So I'm like, I like to have that recall on him if he does
safety,
go near the
it's
pond.
communication. Good to go.
And then Maverick's like obsessed with anything that I'm going to throw. So we'll go outside, then we'll go on a walk, and I just spend time with them. Yeah. Edmund relaxes.
Then once you take care of all the dogs, you do anything, do you decompress anyway, or that is your decompression?
Well, working out is definitely decompression. Also, we'll go out to dinner. My boyfriend and I'll go out to dinner. We'll do like, date night, whatever, and just relax, have a glass of red wine, and chill out.
What's the favorite food spot? Y'all's favorite food spot right now?
Oh gosh, this is tough. There's so many in Charleston. So, Our Sunday go-to for brunch. That's like a big day for us, right? So it's
Y'all
like an
big
all-day
brunchers.
affair.
Y'all like the
we're
brunch.
brunching.
All right, what's the favorite brunch place?
Those basic Charleston people. We love Halls, actually.
Ben's a big Hall's brunch guy.
Oh my gosh. Oh, you are?
He took me one time to Hall's brunch. It was all right. It was pretty good.
Downtown or a Somerville location?
Nexton.
Nexton, yeah.
I've heard the downtown Halls is better. Can you confirm or deny?
I've never been to the Somerville one, but I can confirm that it's pretty good.
Okay.
Yes. So I love that spot. Then we'll go over to like Isle Palms, go to Acme. And have you ever been there?
Place, Ben?
Yeah, it's good. And where else? Brunch spots. Tavern and Table is a good one. I love Shem Creek.
Oh, yeah.
And dinner spots, we love Wild Olive on Johns Island.
I don't think I've ever been there.
If you want good Italian. And Coto del Pesce on Isle of Palms. Yeah.
See, I'm mainly in the upper
I know.
land,
Where do you live?
I live in Dorchester, which is 30 minutes outside of Somerville. Yeah, so I'm out in the sticks.
So you're in like North Carolina.
We got a sandwich shop out there. It's pretty good. You ever come to visit, I'll take you there.
Okay, cool.
So we do have a lot of clients on Johns Island and down here, but I usually schedule my appointments, so I go to one, go to the other, then I just roll back up to the upper echelon areas, the Somerville areas.
Everyone's like, oh, do you know like this? So when a lot of Somerville clients will be trying to explain to me where I'm going, I'm like, listen, save your time.
Just give me the address.
I have no idea where I'm going. Somerville is so big.
Yeah.
So they're like, oh, in the corner of this and this. And I'm like, no, give me the address.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, what's your favorite lunch spots? You got the brunch.
Okay, so,
lunch.
I'm downtown a lot. So I love Giarratano. Giarratano's awesome. It's right on Hugie.
Okay.
It's actually very close to this park over there. And then that's a great, they got good acai bowls, smoothies, healthy stuff. Park Cafe is really good. That's right down the block too. So anywhere I could stop for lunch, it's usually around this area. And then if James Island, I like Garage 75. They got good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like a bar, but it has good bar food. So sometimes I'll pick up a salad from there or something.
Nice.
There's so many food spots.
Dinner spot? Did we already talk about dinner?
No. Dinner spot. Well, Wild Olive is a good dinner spot.
Yeah.
But if on Folly there's Jack of Cups. If you ever get to go out there, it's really good.
Really?
Different.
You ever been to
stuff.
Rita's on Folly? Rita's, the burger place?
Yeah, Halls owns that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
They do. Did you
Yes.
know that? You did. You never told me. Interesting. Rita's has the, have you had the tuna watermelon nachos?
No.
What?
Oh, they're good?
No, they're good. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You got to try
Tuna
it.
and watermelon?
Yeah, it's weird. It's super weird, but it's good.
I'll try it next time.
Yeah.
We go in there, we rotate. So, in the summer, we'll do Sundays at the beach, which is always, fun. And then the Lost Dog Cafe is really good for brunch, too.
Yeah.
That's actually a fun one. But, yeah, there's so many spots. You can't just pick, one spot. We always are or Armando's on James Island has good Italian, too. Halls obviously has a really good dinner.
Yeah.
I don't eat steak, so...
Really?
No.
What's the situation there? Just against it?
So no, I got down that rabbit hole of watching all those animal rights videos and stuff. I don't really care if people eat meat or not. It's not a big deal to me. But I watched a video and I was like, all right, I'm not eating pork or red meat ever again. And that was at 14 years old. So my mom's like, oh, you're really going to change up the, because they had certain days we would have cheeseburgers or my mom would cook pork chops. And so then my mom was cooking me veggie burgers. But I still eat fish and stuff. So
yeah. Chicken?
Chicken, yeah.
Eggs.
I went back and forth with that. Love eggs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Client just gave me some
free range eggs.
Really nice free range eggs. They actually taste.
They taste different.
So much better
They're
than
good for you.
the store-bought eggs.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing, actually.
They're way good for you.
Yeah.
I heard something the other day. Eggs that you buy out of the store, farmed eggs and all that, actually feeds the bacteria in your body, the bad bacteria in your body.
Oh, I didn't know
in
that.
a different way than other things do. But if you have free-range eggs, it doesn't, because all the farmed eggs, they're injecting the birds with the
the hormones
steroids and all that. You know what I'm saying? So that was interesting.
Well, that's good to know.
Yeah. But you know, as far as your daily routine, you're waking up, you're taking care of yourself, which is important.
Yes.
You're running a business, you're training people, you're physically active all day.
Yes.
Right?
You have to be physically active to be able to do this job, for sure.
Absolutely.
Yes. You got to have that stamina.
I mean, it's a big deal.
Yeah.
Because here's something else too. You're working with the client, you're walking with them, you're talking the whole time. That's intense. You don't understand how intense that is until you do it.
That's why, and you get tired and you don't realize that you're exhausted. Like mentally, when I get home at the end of the day, I'm like, wow, I had a long day. It was a great day, but I'm ready to just shut off and watch some Housewives or Bravo TV at that point. So,
you watch Squid Games yet?
No, I'm nervous.
Your boyfriend watch it yet?
He told me we had to.
Yeah, you gotta watch it. It's good. Have you watched it yet? No? I told you last week to watch it.
I'm watching the morning show right now on Apple TV. That's pretty good. And you probably would not be interested in half the stuff I watch. It's like, when you want to turn off your brain and you're watching something stupid, literally, that's what I watch.
Yeah. Good to go. Good to go. Whatever works for you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Good stuff.
So,
and then
documentaries sometimes,
How many hours of sleep are you usually averaging?
I'll be in bed by like 9:30.
9:30. So you
wake up at 5.
Yeah, like 7
hours.
7 hours. That's good.
That would be a goal.
That's good. Yeah.
Sometimes it's not as much, but I feel like when I work out in the morning, I'm not as tired during the day, which is probably a fact in general.
Yeah. If you don't work out in the morning, at least for me, because I work out first thing in the morning, I definitely can notice a difference.
Yeah. It's like my cup of coffee.
It's harder to get up.
Yeah.
How many cups of coffee you have?
5.
What kind of coffee?
Oh, I actually started buying
the One Nation.
Yeah, the One Nation
that's right. You hit me up
coffee.
about that.
Yes.
You like it?
It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, oh, this is awesome.
You're doing the 912 blend? Is that?
I think it's like the medium blend or something.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
You got to try all the flavors. They're all good.
Oh, yeah.
Just cycle through them.
Can you just get that on order, like automatic?
I think so. Subscription service or whatever? Yeah, I think so.
Talk to him about it. Let me know.
Yeah, we'll talk. We'll chat. Then you got these now, too. You got the Jocko Go.
These are good.
Yeah, they're good for you,
Real
too.
energy.
They're good for you, too.
Yeah.
So,
they're pretty good.
So, all right. So we've covered a lot of information.
Yeah.
Is there anything that, you want to put out there maybe to someone looking into dog training? Maybe someone that's looking into getting into dog training? How should they do that? Small business, someone's a dog trainer. They got to start their small business.
So they've already been a dog trainer, or they're like looking into it?
Well, someone may be looking into it. Maybe someone maybe they are a dog trainer, but now they're starting their business. Any comments for those people? Recommendations for them?
Gosh, because I feel like mine was so not the path, like straight and narrow path of it. But
that's why I think all dog trainers end up on a different path.
It's you got to put a lot in, and in the beginning, I feel like. Like I said, I discounted my prices when I moved here. Just get your name out there, and, build up a clientele, and, it's going to happen. If you're really good and you have a really good rapport with your people that you're working with, they're going to recommend you to someone, right? And then that person's going to recommend you to someone else. And then, it becomes a really nice referral-based system. A lot of my clients are referral-based. I didn't really do like the Google advertising and stuff, mostly because I didn't have the funds in the beginning. Yeah. So it was a lot of money. They were like, oh, it's this much money. I'm like, oh my gosh, I just moved here and I don't even have a business yet. Clientele. So that's a little overwhelming. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to discount my prices. I'm just going to throw my name out there on all these social media platforms because now you have that, right? So also show your work. So you could go to a dog trainer's page, and if it's literally just them doing, having snapshots with their own dog, where's your work?
Yeah.
So like you guys post videos all the time. I'll post a lot of stories and then kind of turn them into posts. So just show your work, and, people are going to be more intrigued with that than like, what you have written down.
Absolutely.
Because it comes down to actually showing the person you could do it. So, and just be true to yourself, and don't overwork yourself, because we all get burnout. So
we learn that the hard way sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about kind of going back to you were involved with the rescue for a while?
Rescue burnout.
What are your thoughts on the rescue world? You got burnt out there. I feel like that happens to a lot of people because it's a very tough place to be at. You work with a lot of rescues. We both work with a lot of rescues, trying to support them to the maximum extent possible, and the dogs, obviously. What's your thoughts on that? Feedback, comments?
You got the bleeding hearts, and it's really hard. You want to care about all these stories and all, these abuse cases, and you become almost like a little jaded. And I started becoming like desensitized. As bad as that sounds, it was very like, it was almost like
to all the cases.
It was like I had to shut my brain off, because when I would go into the shelter, you could go and like you could be working with the dog that day, and then it would be euthanized the next. So I would be like, "Where's so and so?" And then I actually really liked this one dog, and I was working with her, and she ended up having cancer, and they're like, "We have to euthanize her," and I was like, "Oh man!" And they're like, "You can take her." And I felt so guilty because I couldn't, because I already had a foster.
Right.
And, but they wanted me to adopt her. And I'm like, well, I'm only 23. I can't afford cancer. I can't afford to pay for that.
Oh, yeah.
And so I went back the next day. She was still there. And I'm like, are you guys like, this poor dog is just sitting here rotting away. And, I'd take her out. And, that was like really depressing.
Yeah.
But yeah, the rescue world, you got to have a balance in that. And I felt like before I moved down here, I was getting really exhausted because you do care so much, and you really want to help the dogs. And then you have to come to that conclusion that maybe not all dogs can be saved, which is like a very hard topic to talk about. And that's heartbreaking in itself. So, you do what you can with the dogs you have, and you help you guys get a ton of dogs from rescue, and, it's a really hard game, because you also have to pair those dogs that are in your training program to perfect owners that are going to follow through with all that training, especially if the dog came to you with some issues that will need to be managed. So
that's the hardest part is, sure, you could take any dog. I could take any dog, Most good trainers could take any dog, but we can't have all these dogs because we got a bunch of dogs of our own. But with that being said, we try to do our best with the dog. We get that dog up to where it can be good in society. However, now, like you said, we have to pair that dog to an appropriate person, and we run out of appropriate people for the dogs very quickly, very very fast, because having a very special case dog where you have to manage it properly, train it to X amount of extent every single day. You can't coddle the dog. Nobody can pet this dog. The dog doesn't like me, and people
scary words to tell someone that's potentially adopting
that's not why people want dogs. People want dogs so they can, be that cuddly pillow that everybody can touch. Take it to parties. It's cool with everybody. That dog that's more difficult, people don't necessarily want that dog. You know what I'm saying? So.
And it's a hard pill to swallow when when I got Chase. Well, guess what? He can't be on the furniture. He can't be, you can't be coddling him. And I'm like, oh man, that's like why I got this dog.
Right.
But I knew that behavior wasn't good, because that's not what he was doing. So, I think it's hard, especially if someone's like interested in a dog, and then, you talk to them, right? You've done the training with the dog, and you're like, hey, this dog needs to be managed. Like, this is a great dog, but he just needs this training, and it's might have to be a lifetime of management. And that's really hard for people going into adopting a dog to want to do that.
Yeah.
So you got to find like someone that's able to deal with that.
Yeah.
And they could still live a beautiful life. It's not like,
Absolutely.
That's the whole point of training, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the hard part of rescue. You get a bunch of dogs that came from, people weren't breeding these dogs for their temperament. People were breeding these dogs for probably bad reasons, to make money, to, for protection in the backyard. So you're dealing with a wild card, especially if you're getting like a puppy or something like that.
Yeah.
It's not to say not to rescue. It's just, sometimes behaviors develop as they get older, and a lot of that's genetic, and it's hard to explain to someone, well, we got it as a puppy. I'm like, well, you don't know what parents they came from. You don't know what the parents were, if it was like a mom and a son that had the puppies, which is a case, Yeah. So
there's a lot of factors that go into it.
Yeah. I love rescue. That's how I started all this. But, I think it's not as like sunshine and rainbows as some people, when they adopt a dog, think it is.
Right.
So.
Yeah, it's a tough world for sure. But we're here to support. You're here to support. You
course.
know, we work with a lot of the same rescues, you know, but it is a challenge.
It's a challenge. And it's a beautiful thing when, like, they do get trained and they
Oh, yeah.
develop. It's amazing because
And they find the right people for them, you
Exactly.
know, and they're on the path, you know, make sure that dog's good to go.
Oh, no, is that like a squirrel?
Squirrels are throwing things at us. So, but it is when all that gets put together, you got the right dog with the training, with the right person, they're on the path, they understand, they're following through. That dog's able to live life to the best of its ability. The owners provide the dog the freedom. They have, you know, enjoyable life with that dog, and that dog's able to live out its life the best way possible. That's where it comes together. You know? So, but yeah, good to go. Well, I really appreciate you, Megan. Thanks for coming on today.
Yeah, it was awesome, actually. It was awesome.
Any closing thoughts, comments, concerns about anything in general?
No, just, you know, train your dog.
Train your dog.
Do the right thing.
Get out there, do the right thing, train your dog, drink your Jocko.
Yeah.
Right? Take care of yourself. Wake up in the morning, get after it. Right? So, good to go.
Yes.
All right. Well, you guys, appreciate your feedback. Again, Megan, she's doing the private lessons. Reach out to us. We'll put you in contact with her if you're looking for private lessons. And look forward to doing this again in the future sometime.
Yeah, and thank you for having me on. This was awesome.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, good to go. All right, guys. Until next time, we appreciate your listenership, your support. And until next time,